What's up,
What's
everybody?
up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mindset Mogul podcast. We are your hosts, Josh Jacobs and Bradley Mora. And damn, it feels good to be back. It has been a while. We are back. We are.
Okay.
What is that from? The Hangover? Yeah. We are getting Doug back. Oh, man. It feels good to be back. What's going on, bro? How are you? How you doing? It's been I don't even know how long it's been, but we'll get into why we've been on a break for a little while. But how are you, bro? What's been going on? How you doing?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I know we talked about it off the pod. I'm almost back to 100% from a pulmonary embolism. Sounds way worse on paper than it actually is, but it's a blood clot in the lung. And it was after I got injured on that deadlift. I sat around for a couple of days, and so this is a good lesson in like why you should just never sit around. But I ended up getting a blood clot in my leg, and then a piece of it broke off, and then it ends up like flowing up into your lung. And so I thought I had a gallbladder issue, but it turns out I had this blood clot in my lung. You get a CT scan, they figure out it's there. You take blood thinners, and it goes away. But as far as being a mindset mogul goes, it definitely it's been challenging not working out. It's like difficult to work out with it, but boy, am I ready to get back to it. I'm like almost fully recovered now, and like the fire is so lit when like you have it taken away from you, and you're like, okay. Couldn't be more grateful to one, this like wasn't some bigger issue. Because honestly, when the doctor walked in, he was a little bit spooky about it. I think that's just like what doctors do. But for like 2 seconds, I thought like he was going to give me really bad news. And then it was this, and it's like recoverable and it's fine. And so I guess in those like small glimpses of like, you know, what could be tragic, I've walked away from this, one, just being so thankful for a healthy body and a resilient body. Also makes me grateful for when I can be fully active, like go do out, like you got to like to not go take the opportunity to take those things is like crazy. Like you got to not go run, to not go jump, to not go lift weights. Like you're gypping yourself of like a life of activity. And so I'm probably making this sound like blown out of proportion, but like this micro perspective that this has given me is just all the more reinforcing on all the things that we talk about, that it's like, you know, you don't know what you have until it's gone. This is a small glimpse of it being gone. And makes you grateful that like I'm able to bounce right back and get back into it. So it's been I don't know, probably like 3 weeks since we recorded, or maybe there was 1 or 2 in there, but like this happened between now and then. I'm almost back. So it's all a blip, but it's good to be back.
Yeah, I'm happy. Yeah, I'm happy you're getting back to 100. I'm grateful that we're back in the studio. I mean, seriously, like this, you know, we always talk about like this being therapy, and I really have missed it, man. Like I've been staying on the ball and like doing my stuff, but I've definitely had a few slip ups, and I like the idea of coming to the pod and talking about those slip ups versus like having the slip ups and then just not talking to anybody about them. And it just makes me feel, again, that's why we call these episodes accountability episodes. Like it makes me feel more accountable. It makes me feel like, you know, I don't even know how to explain it right now other than just saying I feel really good to be back. And I already feel like I have another fire lit in me just being on here for 1 minute. So yeah, man.
It totally helps. And yeah, for the sake of transparency, I definitely... I'd like to think it wasn't the case, but it was just like feeling bad or like using this. I let this thing be an excuse at like certain points in time. Like I deserve to go get ice cream because like my lung hurts. And like reflecting on that's BS. I let the door get open for kind of being a potato, and like there's some balance in it. It's hard to like work out when you're injured, but like, I don't know, there's a good lesson in reflection here on just being anti-fragile. I mean, it's even in the context of like the podcast we were talking about, like this pod helps keep us on the track. And I think there's validity to like, I mean, I guess it's clear we're not there yet. And that's okay. That like in any condition, in any circumstance, no matter what, like we get the job done. We're not there yet. And I think that's a world that we're building to. And the more and more reps you put in, but there's also a lesson in like cultivate an environment and have activities. Like for us, this podcast is is an environment for us that keeps us on the path that we're talking about. Build those things into your life and then stick to them. And when you do, it's a self-reinforcing activity to get what you need. And so I love it. Go ahead.
I love that you just said that, because I was literally, I don't know, an hour ago watching a Hormozy episode, and he was saying how, 25% of the soldiers that went to Vietnam tried heroin, and they came back to the United States and they didn't do heroin anymore. And the opposite is true for people in recovery. Like 90% of people in recovery for heroin go back to doing heroin because they go back into the same environment. And he basically was saying that the best way to change your habits is to simply change your environment. And you describing this as an environment is really true. Like, it's obviously not something we're submersed in 24/7, but it's definitely a way on a weekly basis to just maintain that feeling of, being in an environment where we are striving towards excellence. We are striving towards, this mindset mogul mentality of getting it done every single day, like you said. So yeah, man, I'm just happy that we're back. And I just want to remind you guys that we do these accountability episodes. Yes, because we want to stay accountable to each other. It helps us stay on track, but it also we're documenting our strive towards excellence. And in a year from now, I want to look back at these episodes and be like, oh man, I'm way more excellent now than I was back then. And that's why we encourage you to do it with us. Send us an email to support@mindsetmogul.com. Comment on the YouTube video if you're watching on YouTube about how you're staying accountable and what your slip ups are and what your progress and accomplishments have been. So speaking of that, let's talk a little bit just over the last 2 or 3 weeks. I know fitness wise hasn't been the best for you. Obviously you got a freaking blood clot in your lung. It's an excuse, but it's a valid excuse. You got a freaking blood clot in your lung.
There's probably areas on the margins that I could have just been I could have been doing walks sooner. I could be walking up the hill next to my house sooner and more consistently and longer. And so I think there's excuses get slippery. Especially when you believe them to be valid, that's still it's not going to kill me. There's a certain aspect that the doctors are it's basically just don't pass out while you're walking, but it's not it's going to get worse. The blood clot doesn't grow if you go running. So there's I would not my scorecard, even in lieu of this, I would say has been under impressive the past couple of weeks. And so it's good to be back for this to kind of be a shot in the ass that
what about work wise? Has it affected your work at all?
Actually, if anything, it's I've had probably the most productive couple of weeks in work that I've ever had. It open. I was there's the door kind of, I don't know, that energy went somewhere else. And so we just made we brought a new guy into the business. It's a huge hire. It's a potential, I wouldn't call it pivoting the business, but this opportunity to better serve our clients and drive way more value and have a better offer. And this is the beginning of unlocking what I would call the bigger vision for the businesses. And that got done actually in the past couple of days. And so, awesome. Yeah, so that's great. And it, I think to your point, the energy flowed somewhere. It was kind of it's easier to sit in front of a computer with the lung thing than it is to so I was probably choosing the easier of the two activities that move the needle in my life at the moment. So it's not, I guess not all for naught, but I guess that's what happened.
All right, yeah. Good. Yeah. I slipped up a little bit too. I had dude, I had like 102 fever for a couple days. And
I mean, that's honestly, that's like what's like in the micro. That is worse. Like that, you just had to feel terrible.
I couldn't even tell you the last time I had a fever. Like I've had like a 99 or like a mild fever in the last however many years, but I could not tell you the last time I had a fever like that. I mean, if probably like 10 years ago or something, who knows? But man, that was brutal. And I definitely used it as an excuse to eat a lot of matzo ball soup, which was amazing. And definitely, it was incredible. And even though I was trying to do no carbs, I definitely needed to down that matzo ball soup. And man, I don't know what it is. It's like not nature, but whatever. It's like the best healing medicine ever for being sick is just having a nice big bowl of matzo ball soup.
Where'd you get it from? I don't even know where to get matzo ball soup from anymore, but it's very nostalgic.
Manny's? Downtown Chicago. Okay. Manny's been there for 100 years. It was right next to my grandpa's old clothing store when he owned it.
Wow.
But Manny's like the most famous corned beef in Chicago. And they got an unbelievable matzo ball soup. And
all right, I'll come down. We'll both get sick one more time. We'll have some matzo ball soup, and then no carbs after that.
I'm down. I am down. Sorry if you guys hear my dog barking in the background. I got some commotion in the hallway today, so you'll have to deal with it. But hopefully, it's not too bad. So yeah. Other than that, I feel like I pretty much have stuck to the program for the last few weeks.
What's the program right now?
I feel like the program is no carbs, intermittent fast, not no carbs, but under 36 grams of net carbs, intermittent fasting. I've been doing one fast a week, like for a whole day. So it winds up being about 44 hours by the time I eat the next day. And, I just make sure it's at least 36 hours. And yeah, I just feel like, and 2 workouts a day, cardio in the morning, just outside on the lake, and then lifting in the afternoon. So and reading 10 pages a day, saying my affirmations every morning. What else? Drinking a gallon of water a day. Kind of like 75
I was gonna say, it sounds like you just do 75 hard all the time, which is extremely impressive.
Yeah, except not every workout is 45 minutes. Okay. Like if I go run, and I get my miles in 25 minutes, then my morning cardio is only 25 minutes. But so it's kind of a similar program to 75 hard without being exactly that. But I just find that, I think we talked about this when I mentioned that this was the program I was going to do. I think that was that was the one pod we recorded right after I got back from my honeymoon. But I just feel the most dialed in all areas of my life when I'm following 75 hard. So I figure, okay, I don't need to do 75 hard. Like I don't need to not have a single cheat meal for 75 days. Maybe this is something I'm striving for, is like that idea of being 100, like not having a single cheat meal, not having a single drink, not having a single anything. But I didn't commit to that this time, and I've been fine. Like I've had a couple drinks, I've had a couple cheat meals, but for the most part, I've been staying on it. I've been losing the weight that I gained on my honeymoon, and feeling dialed again. So I'm happy.
I got to be honest. I feel like from a sustainability, from like a regular life, I'll just call regular life, like not being on a program like 75 hard, like I think you're achieving the pinnacle as we speak. Like that actually, let's call balance is like not 50-50. It's like 98-2. Like that's what balance should be. And that is through what you've done, like 75, hard, like 4 times, 3 or 4 times, whatever
3
it
times.
is.
Plus phase 1.
Yeah, plus phase 1. Exactly. You've gone through enough periods of steady, like of discipline. And I'm not saying it's just attributed to those things, but like we use those as a foundation for knowing what good looks like. And then now your steady state has upgraded to 98.2. Like the reality is like you probably enjoy your life more if you have a couple, for certain people, I don't want to speak for everybody, but like, what the maximal, utility, happiness, enjoyment, fulfillment, like experiencing life's moments look like. And maybe that means having a drink or two at XYZ occasion. I think that, having a cheat meal is like food is good. And like it gets the dopamine going. Like, yeah, there's, and you don't need to monk yourself out of having that for your entire life. And in fact, it's probably a lot better in the quantities that you do it. Like you get actually like way more utility out of it because you have it infrequently. And so, damn, like that's actually, you were speaking about it honestly in a way that was like, just like business as usual. But I honestly think that that's like the fact that there's been consistency in your ability to like live 98% of 75 hard, like that's incredible. And that is, you should feel extremely proud about that. Like, cause that's harder to do than like being like, hey, I'm on a program. Like this is just how you live now.
It's because I've done it so many times. And I just associate doing these things with feeling good. Yep. So there have been days that I missed, and guess what? I feel like shit. Like when I miss a day, I do not feel good. And I associate that feeling now the second I wake up in the morning. So the second I wake up in the morning, nothing's changed. I still don't want to do any of the things, but like, I just know that if I don't do it, I'm going to feel like shit in an hour. So, nothing's changed. Just my level of awareness, I guess, is just at an all-time high of like, I know I'm going to feel like shit if I don't do it. So I'm going to go do it. And it also has helped that I've like, implemented some things that are measurable, like running every day versus walking. I can see how my pace is getting better. I can see how much more distance I could do. I can see how much faster I get. We've talked about this, but I love everything that's measurable. Like now I'm doing pull-ups and chin-ups every single day. So I could see how many more I can get, how much easier it does, how many more I could do in one set without having to take a break before doing the next ones. Like little things like that, I feel like are also motivating because I know that if I don't do it one day, the next day is maybe not going to be as good, or I'm just losing progress or not making as much progress as fast as I want to. I don't know how else to say that, but it's been good. So again, I think the other thing too, dude, is like when I have a cheat meal now, it's not like I don't want to eat pizza because I did eat pizza one day, which was brutal, but I feel like shit after eating pizza. Yeah. So like when I have a cheat meal, it's like sushi, but sushi with rice instead of sashimi, which obviously puts me over my carb limit, but that's why it's a cheat. But it's still like, it's sushi. It's not like I'm eating, yeah, it's clean. It's clean. So it's a clean cheat.
All right. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah. Clean. That's exactly what it's been though. Like maybe it's me justifying it in my head when I do it, but you know, so be it. We're striving towards excellence. We're not excellent yet, but I have to say you're pretty excellent, Ben. But I think what else is going on, dude? I mean, I know we could probably wrap it up because we covered some stuff, but
I think we wrap it up. I liked what you said about the measurability stuff. I think it's a good brain game to play with yourself. Like that's the way dopamine works. It's like you want to measure against something. You use the word motivation. Like we say don't rely on motivation, but if you can intrinsically create motivation for yourself, why not do it? And a good way to do that is to create measurable goals because your brain knows how to play that game really easily. It's like, I want to get one more than I did last time. That's like a dopamine trigger, which then makes you want to do it, which then you have motivation, which just makes your life of getting the thing done easier. So that's a rambly way of saying great tool for anyone in the audience to use. Start measuring stuff because you'll immediately just want to do it more.
Yeah. It's the same thing with like measuring my food, dude. If I'm not measuring food one day, it's so much easier for me to cheat versus if I'm recording that thing in MyFitnessPal, like, you know, I see the calories, I see the carbs. It's like much harder for me to cheat because I'm looking at it. But yeah, so real quick, what's on the agenda for the next, I don't know, once you feel 100, you got any ideas yet?
I told you, I don't like, I gotta clear with my girlfriend.
Just go hard again.
I was do 75 hard again. It's like the ultimate reset. I'm kind of like, I better when I have structure built for myself, but I'm also like coming off this like sedentary period, and it's not that long ago since we did it last time, even though I technically did fail. So it's like there's part of me too where I'm like, well, I gotta actually like, I'm not losing on a technicality here. Like I can't die not having done it and lost on a technicality just for like, you know, my entire life. And you know, I didn't think I was going to need a reset this quick, but just given the, you know, the injury plus the lung thing, it's like, there's not really a better time. I'm also with like some of the momentum the business is picking up. I kind of want to match that with like everything that I'm doing. And it's just, if you can be 100 and like now is the time to be 100 and like get wind in the sails, I feel like it's a good time to just put all those pieces together at once. It also just makes it easy because it's like, this is once you're in a program, you're in a program. We talk about it, but the structure is just helpful.
For sure. That's the one thing I'll say before we end it is that's the one thing that 75 hard does for me that the current program I'm on now doesn't, which like to your point, 98.2 is still amazing. Yeah. But that's one thing about 75 hard. It's like, there's not even a consideration of a cheat. I see a piece of pizza. I see a sushi roll with rice. I'm not even thinking about eating it. Versus now when I'm not on the program, even if I don't do it, I think about it way more.
You have a decision to make because you're not like in this world of black and white.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's true.
You're like
right.
constantly having to make a decision now. I think that's the problem is like, unless you're committing to 100, you're always making a decision to do something or not to do something, which is hard. Like that's just like another brain game. Like you get decision fatigue of like deciding and you lose willpower like throughout the day. Like that's just, it's brain science. And so
I also, just to your point real quick, aside from the awareness of like knowing I'm going to feel like shit, I also completely associate not doing it with not keeping a promise to myself. And it goes back to what we were talking about before on previous episodes about like, losing the idea of like opportunity in life. It's like almost like a confidence thing, right? When I am not keeping the promises to myself, I don't feel as confident those days. And when I don't feel as confident, my outlook on life isn't as great as when I do feel extremely confident. And it's so the outlook on life thing, for me at least, is definitely tied to my level of confidence. And my level of confidence is always higher when I keep those promises to myself. Yep. So that's another association that I've just become very aware of. And I like operating at a high confidence level way more than I like operating at a less confident level. So, yeah, man. Anything else?
I think that was a good mic drop.
All right, sweet. Well, great to be back. Great to catch up. I'm looking forward. We'll be back again tomorrow, I believe. So thank you guys so much for listening, watching. If you made it this far, we appreciate you. Please, please, please give us a follow on Apple, Spotify, Google, whatever podcast platform you're listening on. Give us a review, 5 stars, please. We'd appreciate it. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Give us a like and a comment. If you have a question you want us to answer, maybe we'll get back into a Q&A tomorrow. I'll check the email. Email that into support@mindsetmogul.com or leave a comment on the YouTube channel and we will get to your question. So thank you guys so much and we will see you in the next episode. Take care.